the main suspect in the disappearance of Madeleine McCann, repeatedly worked at the resort where she disappeared in 2007, a documentary has claimed. A new documentary by German TV channel SAT.1 has revealed that convicted rapist Christian Brueckner, 44, regularly carried out repair work as a maintenance man at Ocean Club in Praia da Luz, where the 3-year-old vanished nearly 15 years ago. The evidence gathered for the program shows Brueckner to be very familiar with the resort on the Algarve, Portugal, and surrounding areas. At the time, he was living in a battered hippie van near Praia da Luz, explaining to the investigative reporter through a letter exchange that he was a drug dealer. New mobile phone analysis has also suggested that Brueckner's mobile phone was no more than 5 minutes away from the Ocean Club when the little girl vanished. The 44-year-old told the investigative reporter on the documentary, Uta Rob, that he used his battered hippie van, which he was living in at the time, to traffic drugs. In the letter exchange, he protested his innocence by admitting to be a drug dealer, and says he was never caught by the police because he followed a few key principles. The convicted rapist added that the idea he was the one to have abducted Madeleine was absurd, as starting a nuclear war or slaughtering a chicken. He wrote, "I was never caught by the police because I followed a few key principles. Where possible, only driving during the day so that my battered hippie bus didn't attract attention, only driving on the roads I needed to, and, most importantly, never provoking the police." So that means not committing any crimes, certainly not abducting anyone. I see no reason to comment on the accusations made by the Braunschweig Public Prosecutor's Office. In theory, I could sit back and relax and just wait for the findings. Police publicly named him as the prime suspect in the investigation in 2020, and earlier in the investigation, he was alleged to have taken a half-an-hour phone call, not far from the apartment where the McCann stayed. German prosecutors remain convinced he was responsible for the youngster's disappearance, but despite an intensive investigation have not brought any charges. He also is alleged to have admitted abducting Madeleine to a friend, and the German team of investigators, led by public prosecutor Christian Walters, said they were certain he had killed the 3-year-old. German TV channel SAT.1 has also said to have seen old chat logs between Brueckner and a convicted sex offender in 2013. The man, who was tracked down to his home in southern Germany where he runs a funeral business, had been a regular customer of Brueckner, and they swapped material with one another. In the chat, Brueckner is said to have written about his pedophilic fantasies, in that he wanted to capture something small and use it for days. That's what to do. Brueckner is currently in a high-security prison in Oldenburg, near Bremen, northwest Germany, serving a 7-year sentence for raping an American pensioner, 73, in her home in Praia da Luz, in 2005. Public prosecutor Christian Walters said they are grateful to the SAT.1 team for sharing their findings with the police investigation. There are witnesses who might prefer to speak to the media than to us or the police. If this produces any ideas, we will of course follow these up, he said. The TV documentary also includes a reconstruction of the evening of the toddler's disappearance. Walters said of the investigation, "If this produces any ideas, we will of course follow them up." The hour-long film, called SAT.1 Investigative, Neue Spuren im Fall Maddie, translating to New Clues in the Case of Missing Madeleine McCann, will air on Monday in Germany. German prosecutor Walters said last year they were 100% sure that Brueckner was responsible, but admitted all the evidence so far compiled was circumstantial. He said, "It is circumstantial evidence, we have no scientific evidence." If we had a video of the act or a picture of Madeleine dead with Brueckner on camera, we wouldn't have had to make a public appeal. But we only have circumstantial evidence. But he also admitted prosecutors have no proof Madeleine is dead, any idea how she died, and no evidence linking Brueckner to her alleged murder. "We have no body and no DNA, but we have other evidence. Based on the evidence we have, it leads to no other conclusion." "I can't tell you on which basis we assume she is dead. But for us, there is no other possibility. There is no hope she is alive."